All right, greetings, friends, and welcome to another episode of my Masters of the Universe Memories. My name is Brandon Jenkins, and I am your host. Usually I have someone with me, but today we don't, and we're trying something a little different today because it's been about 5 months since I made a video, and I decided I needed to make one because some things happened over the weekend, which some of you are aware of, and a special event occurred, so we're going to talk about that. And also, I'm doing a little different today. Our computer's been broken for a little while, so I haven't been doing the normal filming and then editing with the intro and splicing together parts, things like that. And what I decided I would do is I would use my phone to film it. So hopefully it's coming in clear and you can understand what I'm saying and you'll be able to see all of these things I'm going to demonstrate. What we're going to talk about is PowerCon. PowerCon 2013 specifically, which just occurred this past weekend in Torrance, California, which is in Southern California, and going to talk a little bit about what happened there and my thoughts and feelings about it. Also, I got a few pieces of art. A couple of these are from last year's PowerCon. This is the second PowerCon I've been to. The original one was in 2011. I went to that. I did not go last year, 2012, but I did go this year, 2013. The first one was held at the Airport Hilton in Los Angeles, always been in Southern California. And this year and last year as well, it was held in Torrance, which is actually closer a little bit to El Segundo, which is the headquarters of Mattel. So I enjoyed it. It's a big He-Man convention, but that also encompasses the Thundercats. And this year, for the first time, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were also there, which are all included on this cover. So there were He-Man is the main focus. I've noticed it's Masters of the Universe and all that encompasses She-Ra and those types of things are, I would say, 3/4 of the attendees go for that. Thundercats is another one, although they used to call it PowerCon ThunderCon, which I've noticed they've dropped the ThunderCon part. And this year was the first year of Ninja Turtles. So I would say about 10% of people were there for Ninja Turtles, about 75% for He-Man, and about, I'd say 15% or, little less maybe for Thundercats, and then the rest was kind of a mixture. I saw some anime stuff, saw a couple of other things, a little bit of G.I. Joe, not a whole lot, but a little bit. So they had a couple of pretty cool exclusives this year at PowerCon. One was the Spy Monkey Creations Weaponeers of Monka. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. They had a special, he's called the Eternal Barbarian, and he came with this card back, which is Masters of the Universe related, and he is a special He-Man themed weaponeer, and he came with this extra weapons pack. They're all in flesh tones, and I picked one up. Thought it was pretty cool. It's $15 at the show, and they were exclusive, and they actually sold out. They said it was the first one that they've sold out at any of their conventions this year, including their San Diego Comic-Con exclusives. And I'm not sure if there were any other conventions or not, but they said this, they were, here it is. Comic-Con International Designer Con, which was coming up in November. They had two special ones at Comic-Con in San Diego, and this was their PowerCon exclusive. So they said they sold this one out quicker than any other convention exclusives, including Comic-Con so far. This was the only one to sell out, and that's because it's super awesome. It looks just like He-Man, and it comes with these extra heads, like they have a Skeletor head, and I believe this one's probably a Man-at-Arms head, or supposed to be, and the other, whatever you want, and then it has the He-Man head as well. So hopefully these are all coming out. I don't know if this video is going to work out too good, but, thought I'd make a video and tell you all about it. So I picked that up. And I also picked up, and I'm really excited about this one, these special Power Lords exclusives from the 4 Horsemen. 3 3/4 inch. I got 2. I opened one up, and they were individually numbered up to 250. I got number 118. This is the Elite Power Soldier. They also had a black Power Soldier, and I'll tell you a little bit about that. This one's white, and they had another one that was black, but he was just a standard Power Soldier, and this is the Elite one. This is a little card for their Power Lords club for their exclusives that are going to be coming out that they're going to release. So you can sign up for that and then get early access to the Power Lords line that they're going to have, which are all going to be in these 3 and 3/4 inch scale. So, little story, my son Shane and I are standing in line to pick up at the Four Horsemen booth their Power Lords exclusives. The black figure, which I don't have a photo of, and the white figure, they're both $10, which is a good price, and they have no limits, although they only have 250 in stock at the show. So we're next in line, the very next people in line. And I get up to the line, and just then, Corn Boy announces, we're out of the black ones. And everybody cheers, and they're all excited about being out. But I wasn't excited that they were out because that's the one Shane wanted. Shane wanted the black Power Soldier. He's pretty cool. He has a similar design to this one, except the parts that are white are black, and the parts that are black on this guy are red. And he has a different helmet with a full visor and a couple other things, and that's the one Shane wanted. And just before we're about to buy him, they handed out the last one to the person standing right in front of us, and we didn't get any. So I introduced myself to Corn Boy because I'm his friends on Facebook. He doesn't really know me or whatever, but I said, yeah, hey, blah blah blah, I'm a friend on Facebook, whatever. And my son really wanted that black one. He said, well, since you guys were the next ones in line, if you email me, I'll put one aside for you. But it turns out we didn't even have to do that because as of right now, from Thursday, Friday, from last night at about 3 p.m. up until I think this Sunday, they're doing another pre-order where everybody who orders one on this pre-order will get one. So if you watch this video right away and you want one of these awesome Power Lords figures, the black one or the white one, individually numbered starting at $250 on, whoever orders one will get one in this pre-order. They're going to make as many as they get in the pre-order, and they are super, super awesome. They have full articulation in all their joints, swivel at the wrist, elbow, everything swivels. They're the most highly articulated figures in the 3 3/4 line that I've seen in a long time, including G.I. Joe. They feel a lot, G.I. Joes are cool, but these feel like a better quality. They've got way more, G.I. Joes have a lot of articulation, but these ones are solid. And they've got all the articulation you would think, waist, thigh, swivel at the knee, bend at the knee, swivel at the joint, bend at the joint, the ankle. They're sweet, and they're 3 3/4 inch. They said, I went to the Four Horsemen panel while we were there, and they said that the new Power Lords line, which are going to come out fairly soon, are all in this new 3 3/4 inch scale. And they did that because if the original Power Lords, which I had when I was a kid, were in the 6 inch scale, sometimes 7. And the thing about those was I remember having them when I was a kid, and they freaked me out. This guy Adam, Adam Power was his name, and he came out around the same time as He-Man. It was like 1982, and they were too scary for me as a kid. I remember having Adam Power, and in the packaging, he looks like a normal human, but the action feature was you turn him around and he's this guy on the back, the Lord of Power, whatever he is. And to a kid, these look like blood veins and all kinds of crazy stuff. This is Grip Tog on the left. I still have Grip Tog somewhere, and I tried to find him for this video, but couldn't find him. He's around somewhere in some storage box. I still have Grip Tog. I can't remember where I got him or how. But they were so weird when I was a little kid that I didn't really want them. Like when I saw them in the store, they were not something I had to have like He-Man was. So as a kid, I remember them, but I was not as into them as I'm going to be into these ones, because now as an adult, I love these designs and I love these new figures, and I love that they're in the smaller scale, because they didn't just make a smaller scale with like 5 points of articulation. They made a smaller scale and did it right. The figures come with this gun, and they also come with this like staff thing. At least these Power Soldiers do. I'm keeping this one in the bag. So I'm really looking forward to they come out, and they're only $10, which is another awesome thing. I think the smaller size keeps the price down, and they did it right. So it's going to be a good figure to have. If you're looking into wanting to collect a 3 3/4 one, this is the one to have when they come out. Join the thing. Also, I forgot to mention with the Weaponeers of Monka figure, the Spy Monkey Creations, they handed out these trading card packs to people who came by the booth. So it was a pretty good time. I saw a lot of friends that I hadn't seen in a long time, a lot of fellow collectors, things like that. And all of the vendors were super nice. They, it's a fan convention, and they know that the fans are going to be there, and they like talking to the fans, and they are trying to sell a product, and they want to get the word out about all the things that they have. So they really take the time to talk to you and tell you all about their line of toys. Defenders of Eden was there, Spy Monkey Creations, the Four Horsemen were there, of course, a lot of private vendors. A lot of them. They were there. So I got to talk to a lot of those people and see all that kind of stuff. They handed out the free mini, or not wasn't free, the mini comic that I believe was included with King He-Man, the Secret Origin of Skeletor. They handed that out at the Mattel booth. Mattel revealed Blade as one of the figures for next year, and also Scorpio, which people already knew those were going to happen, but it was cool to see him in real life. Blade was awesome. You could see all the little chinks in his armor, the little chain links and all that kind of stuff. Super highly detailed, and I'm really looking forward to that figure next year. What else? Scorpio was there. She looked really good. There was some concern over her skirt type thing, but I don't really get into all the details on that. Some people were kind of hoping that she would have a longer skirt, and they said they would look into it in the Mattel panel, blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff. And a couple of guys got really heated. I didn't think it was a very appropriate setting. They should have waited for the Q&A or talked to Scott individually or whatever, because they tried to drum up support for their point of view during the Mattel panel about Scott being smug sometimes when he answers their questions and things like that. And I'm just whatever. That's what I said. They're too into it, they also handed out a copy of the Masters of the Universe comic. I have a subscription to this, and this is actually the issue that I subscribe to, so I already have one of these, but they handed out a couple, so I got some for the kids. My kids liked it. They're all at school today, so you won't be seeing them, but Delaney got freaked out by Skeletor. There was a guy who dresses up as Skeletor, Jay's cosplay. He had a booth, and she freaked out when she saw him and lost it. We had to take her back up to the hotel room. She couldn't handle seeing Skeletor, so because he was really good. He was in the costume contest. If you want to watch it online, I know Pixel Dan had a copy. He filmed the cosplay contest. You'll see him. The guy only won honorable mention, though, so I don't know how the judges really worked it. Sean Long was a judge, and I'm not sure how they did it because he only got an honorable mention, but his costume was really, really good. And there was a guy dressed as Wondar, and Wondar had his gun lit up. He had the Zodak gun, and it was black, and it had lights that went down it, and he had the sword that he made himself that was black, just like the figure, and he had the whole costume and the battled armor lit up and all stuff. He didn't even get an honorable mention. So I'm not sure what the criteria was for judging, but, that's the way costume contests go. So PowerCon overall was very good. Unfortunately, it was a lot different from the first one that I went to, because there's a couple of things that were different. It was bigger, because there was more including Ninja Turtles, things like that. But the guys at the Playmates booth were awesome. They gave my kids some free toys and stuff like that, so they were good. And they didn't detract. Ninja Turtles didn't detract from the overall He-Man experience, things like that. They were a very good addition, and they were good guests, and they did everything right. And the Ninja Turtle people were very, very... they made themselves part of it. They weren't trying to separate themselves or be who's this He-Man dude or whatever. It was all inclusive, which was good. Which is not something I could say for the organizers of the event, because the first year I went, the Power Honor Foundation were there. This year they were not. And last year they weren't allowed to have a booth either, so they made their own thing upstairs where you could go up and look at all the stuff. And that was one of the things I missed, especially from the first PowerCon. They had a whole separate room set up with all the vintage toys. They had a bunch of artwork. They had a lot of original paintings that Earl Norham had done for the Golden Books line. They had a bunch of like prototype drawings that they had acquired from the designers of He-Man and a lot of things like that that were not at this PowerCon. That was one thing I missed, and that's because of the falling out that Emiliano and Val Staples have had over He-Man.org and the Mattel issues. That was something that I missed. I missed Emiliano being there. He's a super He fan. He knows everything about He-Man. And him not being there was a glaring omission, in my opinion, and he should have been included. The other thing was that the panels now, at the first PowerCon we went to, the panels were one right after the other. So if you wanted to go to one, you didn't have to worry about missing out on something. You could go to one, wait for the next one, go to the next one in line. Now, panels they have 3 or 4, or they have up to 3 panels all at the same time. So you kind of have to pick sometimes which ones you want, which I didn't really have a problem with because they'd usually have one He-Man, one Thundercats, and one Ninja Turtles going on at the same time. So you could either pick one of those. But if you're a He-Man and a Ninja Turtles fan, you had to choose. Do I want to go to the He-Man one or do I want to go to the Ninja Turtles one? And that was a problem. I didn't have that problem, but I know some people did because they're fans of both properties. I went to 3 panels. I went to the Toy Masters panel because I'm still waiting for that documentary to come out and I want to see how far they are. They said they're very close. They're done with the editing. Now they just got to get the publication going. I went to the Toy Masters panel. I went to the 4 Horsemen panel because I'm always interested to see what they've got going on. And I went to portraying the Masters of the Universe, where the actors were there. Alan Oppenheimer, the 2 that played He-Man and She-Ra in the Power Tour in the 80s. Christina Pickles was there, who played the Sorceress in the 1987 movie. I didn't really get a chance to talk to her. I think she seemed a little overwhelmed, which I've noticed from the actors, especially if their first convention at with He-Man fans, is I don't think they realized how big the He-Man franchise is, especially now it's starting to get a resurgence. And at the time, the movie didn't really do too well in the theaters, and so they kind of thought it kind of fizzled, and it was a, kind of a, a movie they did, and they lost contact with the license and the property. But now that they come to this convention, realize there's a convention, and they realize there's fans out there, they seem kind of taken aback at first, like, oh, I didn't know people really like this type of stuff, and so she had her own table and stuff like that, and I noticed that some people were hesitant to go up to her and things like that. I mean, because she's a serious actor. She was in St. Elsewhere and nominated for Emmys and things like that. And every year they've had an actor or 2 from that movie. Last year, what's her name? Evil Lynn. Evil Lynn was there. Meg Foster was there. I wasn't there for that one. She was there. She wasn't there this year. Anthony DeLongis was there last year. I think that's how you say his name. And he wasn't there this year either. But it's always fun for me to see the actors come and then realize that this thing that they did 25, 30 years ago is still popular. And I don't know, it would be kind of surreal for me too as well, because it's a job to them. And Alan Oppenheimer actually he's the voice of Skeletor in the Filmation cartoon and Man-at-Arms. When he speaks, I get a little freaked out because it's Man-at-Arms' voice coming out of his mouth. So I see his mouth move, but I hear Man-at-Arms, which is kind of freaky for me. But he talked about how he went to his first PowerCon and people came up to him and they would tell him, watching this cartoon as a child saved my life. And I don't, it didn't save my life, but I know what they're talking about, where it was a big comfort for me growing up. And it still holds a lot of sentimental value for me. And he talked about how people would come up to him and he said he tried not to get choked up while he spoke about it, that a couple of people at the last convention came up to him and said they had considered suicide until they had watched the He-Man cartoon, and the moral messages at the end of the show helped them to realize that they could get through life, that things would happen that would be better for them if they just carried on. And so that's what they did. And he said it was so overwhelming for him to realize that this thing that he had did a job for and received money and then moved on had affected people for so long. And I think actors later in life, I think as their career starts to even out, or they can slow down and think about things, start to realize that this job that they do has a lasting effect, because people have access to it all the time. It doesn't just like you watch it once and it goes away. You can rewatch it and reconnect and form new opinions or see things that you hadn't seen before forever. It's it's an everlasting medium. It's not going to go away. So people are still affected by it. The new generation now, my children watch it, and I don't know, they haven't really expressed any thoughts to me about it, but it'll affect them in their own way as well, and it's a whole new generation. So that was good to see. I do wish that, like I said before, that the panels were something that you could go to everyone if you wanted to, but because it's getting larger, that won't be that won't ever happen again. The first year was good for that. Also, it was a little smaller the first year, which made it a little more intimate. And in fact, I was talking to one of the vendors there, and they said that with the amount of people that are coming now, it's not uncomfortable, but you could put in a larger room. So they may have to look at a larger venue in the future. I know a lot of people have speculated maybe it might move to New York. I hope it doesn't move to New York, because that's too far for me to go. I know a lot of you travel from back east to come to the PowerCon, and so I don't envy you having to travel to Los Angeles. For me, it's a 7-hour drive from Northern California, so it's not too bad. Too bad. It's not too bad, but it is a distance. Luckily, I have family that lives down there. We stayed at the hotel this time, so it was convenient to just go right up to the room. But I hope it doesn't go to New York, because that would, for me at least, that would cause a lot of logistics issues that I don't want to have to deal with. And I apologize for those of you that have to travel all this way to come to PowerCon. I think I'm lucky in that respect that I only have to go so far. So PowerCon, it was good. A few things that I would change. I would change this whole beef between Val and Emiliano. I would change that the charity auction only contributes 50% of the proceeds to actual charity. I don't think you should call it a charity auction if you're going to take half the money and keep it, and only half the money goes to the charity. I wouldn't do that either. I would expand the room, make it a little bit bigger, so there's a little bit more room to work, because the convention's only going to get bigger, so maybe they'll look into that. I would lower the prices of the roast goobel dinner. I think that's too expensive. I think, especially if, a lot of the original creators aren't there. I don't know if I'd want to spend, I don't know how much it was, 300 is in here. Something crazy. I'll look it up. It's a lot of money. Too much money. So I would make that cheaper. Make the room bigger. What else? I would have the Power and Honor Foundation come back. They're a huge part of that. Especially, I love looking at the vintage stuff, because a lot of stuff I still don't have. And I love being able to show kids, these are the toys that I had when I was a kid. I mean, they know that I've got them because I've showed them to them. But the new generation needs to see where all this came from. And they don't want to sit in a panel and listen to people talk about it. They want to see it. Look, there's the original He-Man. Look, this is the special Wonder Bread exclusive that came out that was a myth for a long time and someone found on them. I can't find it. Anyway, that's some things I would change. So, leave me your thoughts about PowerCon. If you went, if you didn't go, what you would like to see in the future. Hopefully this format worked out. I'm going to push stop on this, so I hope that it's been filming this whole time, and I'm going to try to upload it now, so I hope that works. There won't be any intro, there won't be any music. It's very loose, so I just want to get my thoughts out there, and I think that's it. So let me know what you think, and I hope to see you at the next PowerCon. And keep up. You can visit at facebook.com/mymo2memories. I don't have the website anymore. I think I talked about that before. Hopefully, if this works out, this format, we'll do more of these. And see you next time. Good journey.